Hello, it's Missy. Thank you for watching. Today's tutorial is a hairstyle that I would consider more difficult to do, especially on yourself, but I do have a little trick that makes it slightly easier. So let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe, click that bell as always, and let's begin. With my hair parted in a deep side part on the right side, I'm going to begin by picking up a section of hair on the heavy side of the part and divide it into 3 smaller pieces for my braid. I'm going to cross the side strands under the middle strand to create a Dutch braid where the braid sits out on top of the other hair instead of laying underneath like a French braid. Once I've started the braid, I'm going to begin incorporating new sections of hair, working my way down towards my left ear. I'm bringing in new sections to both sides of the braid, from both the part line at the top of my head and from along the hairline. So I'm crossing one side under the middle strand, picking up a new section of hair and crossing it under, adding it into the middle strand as well. Then I'm crossing the other side strand under the middle strand, picking up a new section of hair and crossing it under, adding it into the braid as well. And as the braid curves down towards my ear, I'm going to switch my hands and continue braiding the hair around the back of my head. Now, this is the trick for making this style a little easier to do. As the braid curves around the back of my head, I'm not going to bring in new sections of hair to the bottom side of the braid. I'm only going to add in hair from the top of my head, bringing in each piece as I create each stitch of the braid. This will help leave enough hair down to create the half up style, and it will also help anchor the braid while keeping the shape of the style. And I want to make sure to keep the braid lower on my head so it doesn't sit too high or too close to the crown. And I also want to make sure the braid stays nice and tight against my head. It's easier to loosen at the end than it is to try and tighten the braid once I'm done. Then once the braid begins to reach around to the other side of my head, I'm going to finish bringing in all of the hair from the top of my head by bringing in the hair instead of trying to curve the braid over the top of my head. This will ensure the hair is brought cleanly into the braid instead of trying to bring the sections in at a weird angle, so it will avoid creating any weird bumps or gaps in the braid. Now, once the hair is all brought in, I'm going to continue braiding this section down to the ends in a regular 3-strand braid. Then I'm going to wrap the end of the braid over the top of my head and pin it in place using several bobby pins. I push the pins into the braid so they hide underneath the hair. I don't want any of them to stick out or show. Then once it is all pinned up, I'm going to go back over the braid and gently widen it by pulling on the edges. This will make the braid look bigger and more full, and this is just an easy way to help accentuate the style.